What if I told you that two of the most famous deli meats in America often start out as the exact same cut of beef, yet end up tasting completely different? If you've ever looked at a deli menu and wondered whether pastrami and corned beef are basically the same thing, you're not alone. Many people assume they're identical, just sold under different names. After all, they're both cured beef, they're both piled high on sandwiches, and they're both staples of classic delis. But the truth is far more interesting. Once you understand how they're made, where they came from, and why they taste so different, you'll never confuse them again. Welcome to Consumer's Choice Top 5, where we uncover food mysteries, explain everyday products, and reveal the fascinating stories behind the foods we eat. Today, we're answering a question that has confused sandwich lovers for generations. What's the difference between pastrami and corned beef? Before we dive in, take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and tell us in the comments which one you prefer. Are you team pastrami or team corned beef? By the end of this video, you might change your mind. Let's begin with the biggest surprise of all. Pastrami and corned beef often start with the same cut of meat. In many cases, both are made from beef brisket. Brisket comes from the lower chest area of the cow and is known for being tough if not prepared correctly. However, when it is cured and cooked slowly, it becomes tender, flavorful, and perfect for sandwiches. This shared starting point is one reason so many people assume pastrami and corned beef are the same thing. If they begin with the same cut of beef, how different can they really be? The answer lies in what happens next. The first major step is curing. Curing is a preservation process that uses salt and seasonings to flavor the meat and help prevent spoilage. Long before refrigerators existed, curing was one of the most important ways to preserve food. Corned beef gets its name from this process. Interestingly, the word corned has nothing to do with corn the vegetable. Instead, it refers to the large grains, or corns, of salt that were traditionally used to cure the beef. This surprises a lot of people. Many assume corned beef contains corn. In reality, the name comes entirely from salt. The brisket is placed in a brine made from water, salt, and spices. Over time, the meat absorbs those flavors and transforms into corned beef. At this point, if the meat is cooked and served, you have corned beef. But if you continue with additional steps, you create pastrami. This is where the two meats take completely different paths. After curing, pastrami is coated with a flavorful spice rub. This coating often contains black pepper, coriander, garlic, and other seasonings. Every deli has its own recipe, but the goal is always the same. Create a bold, flavorful crust on the outside of the meat. Then comes the biggest difference of all. Pastrami is smoked. Corned beef is usually boiled or steamed. Yes, pastrami is smoked and then steamed. That smoking process completely changes the flavor. Think about the difference between regular grilled food and food cooked in a smoker. Smoke adds depth, richness, and complexity. It creates flavors that simply aren't present in foods that haven't been smoked. That's exactly what happens with pastrami. The result is a meat that has a stronger, more intense flavor than corned beef. If corned beef is the quiet, dependable friend, pastrami is the outgoing friend who walks into a room and immediately gets everyone's attention. Both are great. They're just different. Now let's talk about taste because that's what most people notice first. Corned beef has a savory, salty, beef-forward flavor. The curing spices contribute subtle notes, but the beef remains the star of the show. Pastrami is much bolder. The spice crust creates extra flavor. The smoking adds richness. Together, they produce a more complex taste experience. Many people describe pastrami as smoky, peppery, and deeply savory. This doesn't mean pastrami is automatically better. It simply appeals to different tastes. Some people prefer the cleaner flavor of corned beef. Others love the stronger personality of pastrami. Another difference becomes obvious the moment you see them side by side. Corned beef usually has a smooth exterior and a pink interior. Pastrami often has a dark outer crust covered with pepper and spices. That crust is one of its defining characteristics. The next time you're at a deli, look closely. The pastrami almost announces itself with its dark, heavily seasoned exterior. Now let's explore where these famous meats came from. Corned beef has a long history that stretches back centuries. Before refrigeration, preserving meat was a necessity. Various cultures developed ways to cure and salt beef to keep it edible for longer periods. Corned beef became especially associated with Ireland, where salt-cured beef was produced in large quantities. Over time, it became connected with Irish-American traditions, especially around St. Patrick's Day. That's why many Americans immediately think of corned beef and cabbage. Pastrami has a different origin story. Its roots can be traced to Eastern Europe, particularly regions that are now part of Romania and neighboring countries. Similar cured and smoked meats were made there long before pastrami became famous in America. When immigrants arrived in the United States, they brought their food traditions with them. Over time, pastrami evolved into one of the signature meats of American deli culture. This leads to another important point. Both pastrami and corned beef became strongly associated with Jewish delicatessens in cities like New York. Many Jewish immigrants helped popularize these meats through their delis. As these businesses grew, so did the popularity of both pastrami and corned beef sandwiches. Today, some of the most famous deli sandwiches in America feature one of these two meats. That's one reason the comparison remains so popular. Now let's imagine you're ordering lunch. You walk into a traditional deli and see both options on the menu. Which should you choose? If you prefer a simpler, beefier flavor, corned beef may be the better choice. If you enjoy smoky flavors and bold seasonings, pastrami might be more appealing. Many first-time tasters are surprised by how different they actually are. Even though they start with similar ingredients, the final products taste remarkably different. This is similar to two people following the same recipe but using different cooking techniques. Small changes during preparation can produce dramatically different results. That's exactly what happens here. The smoking and spice coating transform pastrami into something unique. Let's pause for a moment. Which sounds more appealing to you right now? The classic flavor of corned beef or the smoky, peppery character of pastrami? Let us know in the comments because we'd love to see which side wins. Another question people often ask is whether one is healthier than the other. The truth is that both are cured beef products. Both provide protein and nutrients associated with beef. Both can also contain significant amounts of sodium because of the curing process. The exact nutritional values vary depending on the recipe and serving size. In other words, neither one is automatically the healthy choice or the unhealthy choice. Moderation remains important with both. Now let's clear up one of the biggest misconceptions. Many people believe pastrami is simply another name for corned beef. That's not accurate. A better way to think about it is this. Corned beef is part of the journey that leads to pastrami. The curing process creates the foundation. Then the seasoning and smoking process build upon that foundation to create pastrami. It's similar to decorating a cake. The plain cake and the decorated cake started with the same base, but the final products are very different. Pastrami takes the cured beef foundation and adds layers of flavor. That's why many food enthusiasts insist that pastrami and corned beef should never be treated as interchangeable. Each offers its own unique experience. Another interesting difference is aroma. When you smell corned beef, you'll usually notice a pleasant beefy aroma with hints of spices. When you smell pastrami, the smoky scent is often immediately noticeable. That aroma is part of what makes pastrami so memorable. The smell alone can make people hungry. This sensory difference is one more reason why these meats continue to inspire passionate debates among sandwich lovers. And make no mistake, people have strong opinions. Some swear that pastrami is the king of deli meats. Others insist that corned beef is the true classic. The debate has been going on for decades and probably won't end anytime soon. But now you understand why. These aren't simply two names for the same thing. They're related, but they're distinct. One emphasizes the natural flavor of cured beef. The other layers on smoke and spices to create something more intense. As food culture continues to grow online, more people are discovering these differences for the first time. Videos, recipes, and food shows regularly feature both meats. Yet many viewers remain surprised when they learn how different they really are. Before we wrap up, let's do a quick recap. Both pastrami and corned beef often begin with beef brisket. Both undergo a curing process using salt and spices. Corned beef is then cooked, usually by boiling or steaming. Pastrami continues with a spice coating and smoking process before being steamed. Corned beef delivers a savory, straightforward beef flavor. Pastrami offers a smoky, peppery, more complex flavor experience. Both became famous through deli culture. Both remain incredibly popular today. And both have earned loyal fans around the world. So what's the difference between pastrami and corned beef? The answer comes down to what happens after curing. Pastrami receives additional seasoning and smoking, while corned beef does not. That extra step changes the flavor, aroma, appearance, and overall eating experience. The next time you see both on a menu, you'll know exactly what separates them. If you enjoyed solving this deli mystery, please like this video, subscribe to Consumer's Choice Top 5, and share it with someone who loves food facts, food history, or classic sandwiches. And before you go, answer one final question in the comments. If you could only eat one for the rest of your life, would you choose pastrami or corned beef? We can't wait to see your answers. Thanks for watching, and please check out our previous videos.